Welcome to STS. I'm Tom. This is Renee. This is our weekly parkour talk show where we just talk about stuff that's parkour stuff.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. So if you guys have anything that you guys want us to talk about, please leave something in the comments below, and we'll try to talk about it next week as long as it's something topical and not irrelevant to what we're trying to do. Okay, so what do you want to start with? What do you want to start with talking about?
I think the Luci Romberg video.
Luci Romberg.
The official title is going to be True Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So they put out a trailer, and kind of the big feature of the trailer is the Kong gainer at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're trying to hype it up as this.
Spoiler alert.
It's kind of funny because if that's the biggest thing in the video, you think they wouldn't put it in the trailer.
Yeah.
They would save it for.
Well, the True Beauty it's being called a documentary.
Oh, okay.
So it must be a longer video. I mean, maybe it's only like 15 minutes, but that could be considered a documentary. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it. The trailer. I thought was really cool. The way they shot it, it's just like that long dolly shot, I guess, but it's 18 of her.
Yeah, I wanted to actually know, because they're bringing up the Kong gainer specifically as kind of the highlight of this, and she's the first female to do it outside.
Revolutionary.
Does it feel like a big deal to you? Did it give you that effect, or?
Yeah, it did, honestly. When I saw it, I was like, whoa, cool. Like, that's really cool. Like, I've never seen, like, a woman try it outside of a foam pit. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's happened before, but I've never seen it happen. So I think in that sense, it's somewhat revolutionary. But in the grand scheme of, like, movements, like, guys have been doing Kong gainers for so long, and they're doing it off of lower and lower things, and it's getting kind of ridiculous with what they're doing with it. So, it's impressive. I think it's only a matter of time before more women start doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm surprised Sydney Olsen hasn't thrown one in the basically the summer.
Maybe she's it.
Yeah, and they train together, so I'd expect it. I kind of was watching the clip, and Luci tends to bring with her a bunch of praise for what she's doing, but then she also tends to bring with her a lot of times a lot of criticism. Her last big video was kind of received in both positively, but also negatively in great extent. I haven't seen any of that yet so far, but I was just wondering what you thought of like the rest of the movement in the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
I know last time we talked about it was Red Bull, and we were talking about how she's improved so much. I just wanted to know what you thought about her as improving as an athlete. Yeah.
She has skills. It's clear that she has skill. There's a lot of things that she does that are very, very impressive. She throws down. You can't argue that. There was one critical comment that I saw on the trailer, and it was like heavy tricks, but also heavy landings, which is true. Like, her landings aren't as graceful as they could be. In particular, like the Kong gainer at the end, it's pretty heavy landing. She bottoms out pretty hard. She did it, and definitely props to her for it. But that's something that I think she can work on. There's a couple other things in there, like she does. It's hard to explain because a lot of people like in recent years have been doing swing casts, right? So they've been doing swing casts. What she did was basically a swing palm, and that I think was like the precursor for swing casts. So like a lot of people were doing like, swing and then they push away into a palm instead of doing like the nice like pull release. That was really made popular by like Alfred and Sean. from Dodo. And I basically see that move as the wrong way to do a swing cast now.
Okay.
I don't think it's a move. I think it's just the wrong way to do a swing cast. So I think and if you watch it, her landing on that one is also very heavy because the way the rotation happens, you don't get height out of it. You basically push yourself down into the ground.
So you're almost like under rotating.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's some sloppiness there, but and she does a reverse vault at the end that's a little bit janky, but but again, like she's throwing down like stuff that that a lot of guys wouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
She does a double cork, which she probably landed on a mat because she lands out of frame, but still she threw a double cork and she clearly landed it. Gong gainer again. A ton of other things too. I mean, there's so much that she did in that video that you have to watch it multiple times to really appreciate what she's doing. So,
Right.
yeah.
My thing to pick on all the time when I see Luci is her kind of lack of a transitional game.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't have a lot of moves that connect. Some of the things she does, there's parts in there where she'll land something kind of facing one way, make this really jarring turn the other way to do like another trick, and I feel like that's a really old style of parkour freerunning that we're starting to see less and less of.
I think it's still pretty pervasive in the sport, though. To be honest,
Yeah, it's still around, but it's just,
I think because it's the Red Bull style of competition.
yeah, you do a trick and it's totally fine to like run over and do another thing rather than trying to link moves together.
Or pose and then
Yeah.
spin around on one spot and then run over.
Yeah, so I can't be too critical of it, I guess, because it's still greatly what's practiced, but it is something that I would love to see her try to do more, is spend more time on just transitional skills to make everything more of a combo. If you're gonna do just two moves, try to put those two moves together rather than kind of land one, turn one way, come back the other way and do the other one.
Yeah, I mean, in her defense, though, I think there was some moments in that video. Again, it's only a 58-second video.
Yeah.
But again, it's like 18 single moves or lines that she does in that video, so it's a lot crammed into a short amount of time. But yeah, she does a couple things where like she does connect things together kind of nicely. Usually it's only two moves, and then maybe another big move or something else is going on at the same time. And then there is some of those like choppy transitional things.
Yeah.
So.
Again, just going back to her performance in Red Bull, I thought that she did a good job of linking things together in her Red Bull performance.
Yeah.
Just thinking about Luci though, and thinking about kind of what she's done, and like first woman we're talking about now, first woman to do a Kong gainer outside. Do you think like 10, 20 years from now she's going to be kind of in history, like have a legacy almost as?
Yeah, I think she's going to have the respect of the community that she kind of left her footprint as like the woman who's like paving the path for women in the sport, and I think it's good. I think it's only a matter of time before like more talented women come along and just kind of blow past her level.
Yeah.
She's getting a little bit older now too. It's like she's still throwing down. It's amazing,
Yeah.
but yeah, like. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, definitely younger women now, like Sydney and others who are pushing the level, and I think they're probably gonna, push past Luci in the future. Whether that's gonna happen while she's still like practicing, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I just remember on this show we talked about Ronda Rousey before, and bringing her up in light of parkour and talking about women in parkour and legacies like that and big figures, and it's we almost don't recognize that in parkour. It's almost been something that we shy away from in a lot of sense. People were against that, like idolization, and for the longest time, and also because she comes from freerunning and not necessarily the parkour banner. It's it's kind of something where I just remember back in like the dark forum days where where it was just a mess of people talking about not idolizing people, anti-competition, and here's this woman, just gonna be myself, and she's never been one to really try to draw a lot of attention to herself. It just comes because of what she's doing. So I really hope 20 years from now she is one of those figures that we look at and say like, oh, she was paving the way back then.
Yeah, I view her as an inspiration. Like it's, I haven't done a con gainer outside, but yeah, I mean, I think what she's done for the sport, for women in parkour is great, and she deserves all the respect that she gets. And I mean, we've been critical of her. 2 minutes ago, we were being critical of her, but I mean, it's not malicious.
No.
It's because we think she's great, but we do see elements where she can improve. So
it's hard too when you're doing things no one else is doing. Particularly as a female, I feel like in this sport, when you're doing things no one else is doing, it's very easy to people just come along and just give you props for everything and never tell you what you're doing wrong. Never tell you like, oh, that could have been better, or this guy who went before you did it like this or whatever. But you're a girl and no one else is doing it, so good for you. But
this is something that I feel very strongly about. And I think it's holding women back in parkour is the way that the men treat the women in parkour. It's very much it's like babying. It's a babying, and it's holding back women from progressing in the sport. Instead of being critical of them, like, oh, like you could have gotten that, or like you could have tried a few more times and you would have got it. Instead, it's just all praise. It's like, oh, good job for trying. Yeah, good. Yeah, you did great. And instead of just not even saying anything, that's better than the praise that the men in parkour give to the women. It's ridiculous. And not only that, but like when they fall, it's like, oh, are you okay? I need to help you up. And oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. I hate when I see that. It's so frustrating to me because it's like, would you do that to a guy? Would you do that to another guy? I would ask like, oh, you all right? Okay, good. Okay, cool. That's it. Not like, oh no, like, oh man, it's such a frustrating thing because I really think that's detrimental to them.
Yeah.
It's like same thing with children. Like with children, if you coddle them too much, if you're too overprotective of them, you don't let them fall and get hurt and then pick themselves back up, then they're gonna grow up and not be able to live in a world where things go wrong. So yeah, that's one of my biggest pet peeves, the way we treat women in the sport. I think we should just basically as equals. I mean, like, you got to understand that there's going to be certain like disparities in terms of physical ability, but if they can do better, don't just praise them because they did something.
Absolutely.
Treat them as if like they could do better. The same thing I would do to you or you would do to me, right? Like, I mean, how many times have you like told me like I'm like super proud of this line, I show you and you're like, you could have like taken a step out of there. Damn,
that was really good, but
yeah. So,
and there's times for and times not. I imagine the con gainer, she may have only done that one time, just to do it, and rather than picking on it and saying like, oh, you could have rolled out of it or you could have landed it better. If it's this monumental thing where like this person worked up to it like really hard and they're only doing it once or twice, it's kind of one of those things where we're not going to pick on that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, just let her have the moment, right? I mean, there's definitely a time and place for it, but and it's a con gainer, like, come on, like, leave her alone. First time, like.
I run into those scenarios sometimes when I'm filming someone and they'll do something and I know they can do it a little bit better, right? And it's kind of, I wait for them to come around and we look at it and they're like, oh, I think I'm gonna do it again. And it's kind of a sigh of relief because I don't want to ask them to do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you just front flip this gap or whatever.
Yeah.
It was really scary. And I think we could have improved on this little thing a bit, but I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they say that they want to do it again, so it's okay, cool. Anyway, we were talking about Luci kind of paving the way, and I just want to kind of transition to another figure who's kind of left a legacy, so to speak, and is still kind of his claim to fame is Stephane Vigroux, once again, who's finally came out with his, finally finished his website, stephanevigroux.com, and he has a new project. And I was a little caught off by the title because his title is basically this backwards. It's for the program and the workshop he's doing. I actually sent a message to him, which he responded to pretty recently, pretty much before we started recording today. He responded, and he doesn't really see that it's going to be much of a problem. I wasn't sure where he was going with it, and I didn't want to like call him out on it publicly. Although that's kind of what I'm doing right now. But
well, hold on. So basically, for those that don't know, this is Origins Parkour. We're in Origins Parkour facility. Stephane Vigroux has a program that's called Parkour Origins. And for all of those who have ever called us Parkour Origins in the past, please understand that's not what it's called. It's Origins Parkour. I think it's funny too because like we've talked about this before, but like all the parkour brands or parkour organizations, it's always parkour shins.
Yeah.
Right.
Parkour something shins.
Yeah. So it's like parkour generations, parkour visions, parkour horizons, parkour whatever, and then there's. And then you're like, oh, let's be different. Origins Parkour. But then, interestingly, the other side of things, all the free running brands, it's all the other way around.
So,
Tempest free running, Storm free run.
Yeah. Not free run Tempest or free run Storm. Anyway, so get it right. It's Origins Parkour, unless you're talking about Stephane Vigroux, in which case it's Parkour Origins. Yeah. Which. He doesn't think is going to be an issue, but
it's cool that he got back to you.
It's great that he got back to me. I sent him a really nice message, so I kind of, if he didn't, I would have I would have been a little bit curious there. So I don't know if I'm making a big deal of it or not. I was kind of surprised when it came up on my newsfeed on Facebook. It's like, hey, that's my name, kind of. But,
I just hope there's no confusion with people.
That was my first thought. I was like, oh, now I'm going to be getting emails of people asking to train with Stephane. Yeah. I'm going to say it wrong place.
Yeah, that's a little bit awkward. Okay, and we're back. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back on, and we're just going to wrap up with some thoughts about Stephane. So I think it's really cool that he's doing what he's doing. He broke away from Parkour Generations to start this new project just by himself. I don't really know much about it, so I'm just going to hand it to you. But you also trained with him when you were in London,
Once.
Was that right? Once?
Yeah,
okay.
Once, like 7 or 8 years ago when he first got with the Parkour Generations crew.
Right.
So I had a trip where I went to France, London, and was able to do a class with Stephane. It was like this really starstruck moment to me at the time. He's tall.
Yeah.
He and Forrest, they're like 6'2" plus or something, and I didn't expect to be looking up to them. So that just kind of created more to it.
He should be hashtagging tall trainings.
He should be.
And 6+.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I think it's awesome what he's doing. I like that he's breaking away, doing his own thing. He's the only, Generation 1 traceur really that's doing his own product by himself. Yeah. You have the Yamakaze who are, I think some of them are doing different projects, but it's really sort of unclear at this point, and they're kind of promoting as ADD. He's doing it as parkour, right? So he's the only, in my opinion, the only first. But I think it's fact. He's only the first Generation 1 traceur promoting parkour as his own thing, and that's the point of his new project, is teaching the old ways of parkour, teaching.
Is he technically Generation 2 though? Because he's like disciple of Dave and Bell?
Maybe, I guess so.
So yeah, like 1 or 2 or whatever. But he's like definitely original stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's cool.
So hence the name Parkour Origins, his program that he's promoting. Some of the things he talks about in that is that he believes parkour is a complete discipline, which I think the way it's evolved into is definitely not. I think the closer it comes to a sport and being defined as a sport, the further away it gets from being this complete discipline. So he lists stuff like throwing and carrying as being part of it.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so it's almost this.
So he's taking a lot from Method Naturel.
Yeah, from the natural method. So that's what he's promoting. I think it's cool. Like I said, I'm interested to see where he goes with that. When he responded to my basically my message, kind of talking about some of maybe the conflicts with the name, he said he'd be interested in basically coming and doing an event and stuff. So yeah, maybe we'll do Parkour Origins at Origins Parkour.
That would be really interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Or Parkour Origins Parkour.
Yeah, I think he has some really, back when I was able to train with him 8 years ago, he had some really cool insights into fear and conquering fear and working up the challenges. So some things that I still like hold with me today, actually, from that experience. So.
Yeah, I'd love to meet him. He was a huge inspiration for me for a long time. Mm-hmm. That documentary, I think we've talked about it on this show before, but The Monkey's Back, when he was with Urban Free Flow, still watched it probably 50 times. One of my favorite
most
things
influential
ever.
for me. For sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's exciting. So, just want to move on to one more topic.
Okay.
So it was last night, I think, Jace Eiley. We talk about him a lot. He's a really kind of controversial character in parkour. He likes to stir the poo, if you know what I mean. He made a status that was basically like about the term pro freerunner or professional parkour athlete, and how everybody seems to be throwing that term around quite a bit. And he's actually not the only one that did it. I remember several months back, Corey DeMeyers kind of had a similar status that he posted, basically saying what makes a pro freerunner, because a lot of people have thrown that word around. So, what do you think? Do you think that criticism is valid, or do you think he's kind of splitting hairs, or what?
I think there's two sides of the coin.
Okay.
Because his post, he was saying someone is coaching parkour. You made the joke, but someone's coaching parkour 4 times a week does not make you a pro athlete. I think is what he's trying to say. And I think it makes you a professional. You're getting paid. That's the definition of a professional. So you're profession. You have a profession in this sport, but maybe you're a professional coach, not a professional athlete. And it is really hard to say if someone is a pro athlete in parkour, free running, whatever. Because a pro athlete in another sport typically gets paid to compete or do that sport. I could look at teams like Storer or those
Farang. Maybe Storm.
Yeah, that seem to put out videos to promote their brand, but then still they're sponsored by themselves. I think when one of those teams manages to land something. Jason Paul's perhaps an example, or Pasha, but I don't know what he gets out of his Red Bull sponsorship. I have no idea.
And GoPro, he's sponsored by GoPro as well. I think he gets money. He seems to be probably one of the only athletes seems to be doing well, being a professional athlete. But the one distinction I want to make, and this is something that I think Jace mentioned in one of the comments in his thread, was something about how these athletes are just doing parkour, and it's rare and that they're just doing parkour and they're making a living, but it's not true. Stunts is not parkour. If you're doing stunts, you're not doing parkour. In fact, that's probably distracting you from doing parkour. And so in a strict, you know, if he's being strict with his definition of pro free runner, there's probably only a very small handful of people that are actually only doing parkour, which even then, I don't think, I think Jason's still probably getting stunt work.
I could still argue
performance
Jason too,
work.
because
That's not parkour.
Yeah, because his sponsorship by GoPro, it seems largely built around his Instagram account and just making cool Instagram videos using a GoPro. When not all of them are parkour, some of them are gags where, you know, he does the whole size differential thing with Pasha often, and it's not really free running or parkour. He's doing a gag for a video. You know, he's not getting paid to compete. He's not getting or to train, more or less, because that's how usually other sponsorships in other sports work. Is a company will, you know, deck you out with clothes or whatever, and pay you money to wear their brand, so that you don't have to do anything else. You can just train, go to your competition or whatever, and, you know, wear their thing, and they're paying you throughout the whole process, from the training and the competition. And we're really far away from that in parkour. So if you are a professional, you are poor. You are not. If you are a professional, like, you're not doing too well. If that's the only thing you're doing.
Yeah. No, it's you know, again, like, I mean, we keep kind of revisiting this topic, but, you know, in order for there to actually be professional free runners, professional parkour athletes, there has to be a competitive format for people to engage, for the athletes to engage in, so that there is an attraction for sponsors to pay athletes to train and compete. Because right now, maybe the most money is in stunts right now. Then there's like performances, which I still wouldn't consider that doing parkour.
It's almost surprising to me that Store doesn't. They've had stuff. There's Hyundai. They had a thing with them. Nerf. But when they put up big videos like Super Tramps,
they don't have any sponsors associated with it.
And maybe it's not what companies are looking for. But I thought that was a super entertaining video. My mom watched that, and she doesn't watch parkour videos, and she thought it was super entertaining. So I think companies could probably jump onto things like that, but it's almost like teams like Store have to do the work to contact them and say, hey, we're doing this big project. It's going to be, you know, an hour-long documentary. Can you can you give us $10,000?
Yeah, I wonder if they've ever tried, you know, because like I'm curious like how they got like the Hyundai sponsorship video deal.
Probably just their YouTube following,
or even the Nerf, because, you know, I'm curious if they like actually pursued like those companies and like, oh, like, you know, for this much money we'll do this video and it will get this much attention and we can prove it because we have these views for all these videos. But then like those bigger projects, why aren't those sponsored? I think those have tons of potential for sponsorship. Even smaller ones, like you said, $10,000. Yeah, that's, you know, that's not an unreasonable amount of money for the size of the project and the reach. But like even like just a couple grand, like, you know, that. Why didn't they do that? Like, I mean, that would have like saved them money and travel and expenses, and but maybe they're just doing it for the love.
Maybe
doing it for the love.
I love how like a lot of videos and competition events will come out and they'll say, oh, you know, we're doing this without sponsors. It's for us, by us, blah blah blah. And I think that's actually becoming a cop-out in a lot of ways, where it's like, oh, we didn't get any sponsors for this, you know, because we're doing it all by ourselves. And I mean, that's what we've done for NPC and stuff like that. But
we're trying.
We want to get sponsors. We want to get sponsors for it. We're not, you know, I'm not going to ride that wave forever thinking that we can keep improving the show. Oh, time's up.
Okay.
Yeah, if we could get sponsors, and we're working on it, if we could get sponsors, we'll take them. Not if we have to sign something where they get a bunch of control over what we're doing, but that's not always the case. People seem to think that that's always the case, where, oh, if you work with the company, they're going to control what you do. And it's like, well, no, you can make a contract where you
well,
still
that's where a
have control of the
sponsorship
product.
proposal is like you kind of like, you're like, this is what we're doing. This is how your company will benefit from what we're doing. And like when a sponsor comes in, and they're not going to be like, oh well, we want you to do this. We want you to do this. If their terms are, if they bring in their terms, then then you can say no.
Yeah, you might not get the money.
You might not get no money, but you can say no. There's no, you're not tied to that. You can keep your integrity. But yeah, just going back really quick to the pro free runner,
yeah,
pro
we got a little
parkour.
off topic there.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I don't see a problem with people saying that they're a pro athlete. I do it.
I do not.
Am I getting paid money just to be an athlete? Not exactly, but Origins has paid for my flight to go to certain places and compete. I've won money from competition. Like, that's pro athlete material, and from what I could,
Like I said,
based on the standard.
If you are a pro, you are not, pro as in NFL player pro who has $1 million contract. You have probably zero contract, or you have some perks, but
even if all I've gotten was perks, I still consider that being a professional. Even if it's like I'm poor as hell doing it. as long as I'm still like working towards what I'm trying to accomplish and making more, getting more sponsorships, then I still consider that professional.
Yeah. Being a professional in parkour does not mean being rich.
There you go.
It's far from it.
There you go. Yeah, for sure. Cool.
All right.
Well, that was fun.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah. I drank all my coffee.
Okay.
They didn't fill it to the top today. It's done.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yes.